to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Garage band. Right. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the MMA Fan Show. I am Blake Harrison and joining me as always is Stuart.
Oh, that was a new one.
Yeah. Did you like that?
I did, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Been busy. Was at the press screening for Bookish, a TV show I'm in that comes out. Well, I don't know when this is coming out, but it comes out on the 16th of July. So if you like a murder mystery, and it's set just post World War II as well. If you like a murder mystery, then check out Bookish, which is going to be on You and Alibi. I don't know exactly what channel that is, but it's on Virgin, it's on Sky, it's where you can find it. And I think it will stream as well on the You and Alibi streaming thing. I should know more. But it's a murder mystery set in the 1940s. If you like quirky murder mysteries, it could be right up your alley.
Tell me a little bit about your character, Blake Harrison.
Oh, God. I play Sergeant Morris, who is a police officer that really hates the lead. There's a detective who's not a detective. You'll find all that out. And he comes in and starts sniffing his nose around our business. And I get really annoyed with him.
Okay. And what's the show called again?
Bookish.
There we go.
It's on You and Alibi on July 16th. So check that out. So I was there yesterday doing all of the press and screening stuff for that.
Was you looking swish?
How have you...
Was you looking swish?
I might have been looking a little bit swish, mate. Little olive green suit that I was
I saw a little video, mate, of you in some getting fitted in all outfits and that. So, I mean, come on, we all want this little, peek behind the curtain of your celebrity lifestyle, right? So what happens? Does some clothing company hit you up and then you go there and you get kitted out for the thing?
No, you got a PR person that will basically reach out to brands and say, look, our client has an event coming up. You interested in letting him borrow a suit for the event or whatever? And they'll either say yes or they'll say no.
So what
Batch London said yes.
So shout out Batch London, but what happens because I know what you're like if there's some canapes and that going around. So what happens if you just drop a load of food all down the suit? What happens then?
I was genuinely worried about this, and because I know
you're
was
that is the sort of thing I think. Oh, if that's got to go back, I bet he's on edge.
Oh, mate, can you imagine staining up some really expensive, nice suit? You've got to give it back. And you just be there the night before, just wiping it and vanishing it, and please, God, come out! Oh God, I don't want to pay for this. But no, it's all good. And shout out Batch London, they hooked me up with a really lovely suit, so it's all good. But how are you?
Fantastic. I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I've had an idea, right, of what people could do when they decide after the 16th to kick back and watch a bit of Bookish, right? There's nothing better than some little snacks when you're watching the telly. So why not go over to Fat Candy, get yourself some freeze-dried sweets, and sit there on your own, or sit there with your family and your kids, and get a little mix bag, get a little pick a mix bag, and get stuck in. But I wouldn't expect you to pay full price for it. I mean, it's worth it. But us people here at the MMA Fan Show are going to give you a discount code. And what is that discount code, Blake?
It is Sweet MMA. That's SWEETMMA.
There you go. Head over there. Give them a follow on the socials. TikTok and Insta, I think, is probably the best one to keep up to speed with all things Fat Candy, and use that discount code SWEETMMA. Right. So we are here today to answer the remaining questions that we didn't get time on last week's show. And after we've answered some of them questions, we're going to have a little little look over the week's MMA news as well and throw some of that in, aren't we?
We are indeed. So let's get cracking. Who are the best prospects to watch in each division? This is a tough one to answer because I haven't done any research for it. But I would say if we're looking at men's flyweight, you got to go with Lonnie Cavanagh. I think Lonnie Cavanagh's great. And I don't, I don't know why anyone would pick anyone other than. I mean, Josh Van's obviously incredibly young, but he's no longer a prospect. He's about to fight for a title, and I think Lonnie Cavanagh is someone really important to watch. Have you got anyone that sticks out to you?
I'm just going through the rankings now, just to see who's on the sort of peripheries of it, and a lot of them are kind of have been about for a while, and I wouldn't say are the exciting new kids on the block to watch. So when I first read that question, before I even thought of any other fighters in any divisions, the first name that came into my head was Lonnie Cavanagh. So I completely agree with you. I think his fight style is going to be something that fight fans, that are yet to see him, are going to be super excited when they do. Go and watch, his Cage Warriors fights, and go and check out his outings in the UFC today. And there's nothing boring about this lad. Fights at a GB top team, trains alongside friend of the show, Nathaniel Wood, and Brad Pickett. And yeah, I think when you talk about anybody that is following the sort of the British scene, and I do believe it is Lonnie that seems to be the one that everybody is super hyped about. Look, there's fighters that aren't. I mean, we'll also shout out Shamrock as well, who's now signed to the UFC. Hopefully, there's going to be some really exciting things to watch from him. And fingers crossed we see Luke Riley in there as well, because I think there's going to be mega exciting things when that lad gets to the UFC. But right about now, I think in the flyweight division, Lonnie Cavanagh, mate, all day long.
Yeah. If you look at bantamweight, I mean, there's a couple of fighters that I think a lot of British MMA fans won't know that well, and they're not young. They're like, but I don't think there's a lot of people will necessarily know them that well. Marcus McGee, who might actually be ranked.
He is. He's ranked, and he's fighting. Who's he? He's got a really big fight.
Petian. He's got a massive fight, but I don't feel like he's had a lot of fanfare. I don't feel like a lot of people talked about Marcus McGee, but he's on like a long win streak, and he's done really well. Montel Jackson's decent as well, but he's 33, so like not young prospects. If we're talking young prospects, I think you've got to go Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot is, he had that loss to Ronnie Barcelos, but he'd come back against Felipe Lima, showed that he's improved his grappling.
Amazing improvements. Yeah. His improvements were absolutely unparalleled. Every single thing he done was an incredible improvement, Joe Rogan. Fuck's sake, man.
That's a little in-joke about Stu's just absolute fury at Joe Rogan for talking about Peyton Talbot's improvements in his grappling. But yeah, I think so. I think that is the right choice, is Peyton Talbot at the moment. If I'm trying to think now, how old's Mauricio Ruffi at lightweight? I know I'm skipping featherweight. I'll go back. Mauricio Ruffi, 29. Again, I don't know if you want to call him a prospect, especially after that spinning wheel kick knockout of Bobby Green. I mean, he is a name on everyone's lips, but for a while now, he came in and he had that kind of like fight stance, like a kind of featherweight Conor style, and he's incredibly exciting. So certainly worth keeping an eye on him and see where he goes next. That what is it? Fight Nerds team. Would you consider Jan Silva at featherweight a prospect? I'm trying to think. We should have done more research on this, but I'm kind of thinking.
I think you could say that. I mean, he's currently ranked 10th. But I guess he's quite new to the rankings, and he's very new to a lot of, casual fans maybe that, are all of a sudden seeing this maniac barking like a dog at press conferences, and what he's doing is he's also backing it up and looking ferocious like a dog in the octagon, and so yeah, I'm not mad at that. I've got to be honest, like, I know it sounds silly, but the fighter that a lot of people don't know about in that division, that is currently ranked number 7, is Lerone Murphy. People do not know who he is, and it's mad. It's absolutely mad. And I'm using this as an opportunity because I know you diehard fans obviously know Lerone Murphy is, and we've seen him not necessarily having the most explosive finishes, and I think that is what is hindering him becoming maybe as popular as someone like Gene Silva, because he's so outlandish with the medium and stuff like that, whereas Larone's a very humble dude. And so what I will say is watch Lerone Murphy, because he's doing nothing wrong. He's looking fantastic, and I'm hoping and praying that his next fight is not against the number 5 ranked Arnold Allen, because I do not want to see them two guys fighting. I'd like to keep them apart because, well, they're two Brits. But if it happens, that's a good fight.
Another shout out, Ysef Salal, 28 years old, on a, let me look here, hang on, we'll see. In terms of the UFC,
11th, isn't he?
He's on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. Ysef Salal, 28 years old, someone to look out for. Where else can we go? What about welterweight? Who have we got up in welterweight that we would go for?
Are we not discussing lightweight?
Well, I said Roofy. Maybe Roofy's not better. You look up lightweight. I'll look up welterweight.
That's a great shout. And I mean, yeah. Well,
hang on, Mick Tebek. Did Mick Tebek Orobai lose to Rebetsky? Mick Tebek Orobai is one to look out for, but I feel like he's missed weight loads. Like he constantly has been missing weight lately, and maybe he might end up at welterweight. And he's very good, but he's obviously a lot of weight misses. And I'm trying to think if he lost to Rebetsky or not. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember.
When you look at welterweight, there's a lot of older fighters in that division.
Yeah. But I mean, Michael Morales, we've spoken about on this show a lot. He is brilliant. But again, I would say he is a prospect. He's probably a long way away from a title shot just because it's so stacked up at welterweight. Michael Morales has been absolutely smashing it of late. Michael Morales wins. Is fantastic.
Fight win streak, 18 fight. Well, he's 8-0, 13 wins by knockout, 9 first-round finishes. What more do you want from a fighter?
Yeah. And how old is Michael Morales? Do you know?
14.
Now, Michael Morales is 26.
Yeah.
26, and look at the run he's on, 18-0, as you said. Michael Morales has been absolutely smashing people left, right, and centre. He's someone that looks like he will definitely be fighting for a belt at some point in his career. Wins recently over like Max
Gilbert
Griffin,
Burns.
Jake Matthews, Neil Magny, Gilbert Burns. They're building him up well, I think. I mean, he's still not fought anyone the caliber of like an Ian Gary, a Bilal Muhammad, even maybe a Joaquin Buckley or anyone like that, Leon Kamaru. But he's certainly someone that you can keep a really good eye on.
Yeah. I think middleweight, Derrida. I think Derrida's a good shout. I think
that's one of those ones where you go, I think Derrida could be fighting for a belt. He's fighting Rob Whittaker in a few weeks, like on July 26th. If he wins that fight, I think his next fight could be for the belt. Because you would imagine when it comes to middleweight,
but you've also got to say he only just got off a win over Bo Nickel. I mean, he's not got that kind of, he's not fought all of the ranked fighters yet, to go from Bobby Knuckles to a top.
But I don't consider him a prospect because he was a 2-weight champion in one championship. Mm-hmm. So I don't consider him a prospect. But I do think if you're looking for who's going to be the next guys fighting for the belt, obviously you've got Imava versus Baralio. I think that's happening in Paris. The winner of that is probably next in line to fight the winner of Dricus versus Hamzat. But Derrida, if he beats Rob Whittaker, I think his next fight could definitely be for the belt. So, yeah. I mean, when you think about lightweight as well, you think about prospects. Ilia Topuria is only 28.
Yeah.
He's only 28. Obviously, he's the champ. He's not a prospect. Arman Sarukian should have fought for a belt already, so he's not a prospect. How old is Ignacio Bahamondes? I really like him. And I really like, who's the Spanish guy Joel Alvarez, I really like him down at lightweight as well, but I feel like he lost to Bahamundes recently. I'll look this up. Yeah, Manuel Torres. Hang on, there's Joel Alvarez as well. So I'm getting confused. Manuel Torres lost to Bahamundes, and then Bahamundes lost just the other day to Fiziev, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah. So, but the lightweight's just full of them, though. I mean, Bahamundes is only 27 years old. A loss to Fiziev is not a bad thing. Manuel Torres is 30, so he's getting a little bit up there, but he's won all of his UFC fights except for the Ignacio Bahamundes fight. And then I'm just going to look up Joel Alvarez because I really like him as well and see what he's been up to lately. Can't think on the top of my head. And why don't you look up a light heavyweight prospect for us? Yeah, Joel Alvarez lost to Arman Sarukian. And in his debut, he lost to Damir Ismagulov. Nothing wrong with that. And then in the UFC has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. 3 of those in a row. Joel Alvarez is getting better and better. He is 32 though. So yeah, but I would say out of those, maybe Ignacio Bahamundes is your best shot. He's a massive, massive lightweight. And losing to Fiziev is no, bad mark on his name, I don't think.
Maybe at light heavyweight, maybe Zhang. Like he's didn't he
obviously smash Anthony Smith recently?
Yeah, he's fighting Johnny Walker August 23rd. Is that UFC Tokyo? Maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, and also the Mountain Tiger. That's a great name. And,
Mountain Tiger.
Yeah, loving that. So yeah, and at heavyweight, what we got at heavyweight?
Well, Mick Parkin. I mean, I know he's not necessarily. I mean, he's finished his last. Oh no, he lost his recent fight, didn't he?
In his last fight.
Yeah, he did. That was his step up. So maybe you can't say Mick Parkin. Well, I do like Mick Parkin. He was a former guest of the show. We loved having him on.
I think 10 on
Talison Teixeira. Oh, that's it. Talison Teixeira, who is, by the time this goes out, will have fought Derek Lewis this weekend. He's only 8-0. He's only 25. Now, if he gets a win over Derek Lewis, that's your guy. I mean, he'll be highly ranked. Loads of first-round finishes. I don't know if he's even... he's had one decision in a modified kickboxing rules match. Everything else has been finishes in the first round by strikes in one way, shape or form, except in his debut, which was an inverted triangle armbar. So he's clearly got some skills on the ground. But Talison Teixeira, who by the time this goes out, I think he would have fought. But he's got Derek Lewis this weekend as we're recording it. If he wins that fight, that's your big prospect. And that's the guy you're building up to fight Tommy Aspinall, I guess, because Tom needs contenders, man. He's making his way through that top 10. If Tom can be active and fight, I think he'll only get one fight in this year, but if Tom can fight 3 times next year, because I know he'll be hungry to compete, I mean, you're going to need to feed him fresh contenders regularly. And Talison Teixeira is a guy that you're going, okay, let's match this guy up favourably so that Tom fights an undefeated guy that's 11-0 or something like that, or 10-0. And
let's not sleep on Acosta as well. Like he's obviously got rid of Spivak and he's about to fight Pavlovich as well. So yeah, let's not.
How old is he? Yeah, he's 33 and he's on what is that? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight win streak. Yeah, Waldo Cortez Costa. I'm not overly sold on Cortez Acosta, but
he's not overly sold on you either, from what I hear.
But fair enough. So yeah, I hope we've done an all right job of that for you there. This is one of those things where, like, when you look at that question, we should have done some research rather than quickly scrolling through Tapology going, oh shit, who can we think of? But yeah, thank you very much for your question. What was that? Is it Kian Lang MMA? Kian Lang MMA. When you don't space words out, which you obviously can't do on your handles on Twitter and Instagram, it's hard to read it. Headstrong PT UK. What is one of the clearest, most memorable fight moments you've had whilst watching UFC on TV? Mine was watching UFC 199 the next morning, thinking Bisping was going to be destroyed by Rockhold and him pulling off the huge upset. I have to say that's probably up there with one of mine as well. And on the Bisping front, I ended up watching Bisping versus Hendo 2 at my in-laws' house. I woke up early and went downstairs and watched it on my iPad before anyone else got up at like 5 a.m. Because it was on at the terrible o'clock, even though it was in Manchester. And I just remember watching that just constantly anxious because Bisping kept getting hit by that big right hand, but then he would land loads of strikes, and it was such a crazy fight to watch and to score, and I was having to do it all in silence because the in-laws were upstairs asleep and the family were upstairs asleep and everything. So that's a memory I will keep with me for a long time. What about you?
I think probably the one that shocked me the most was Holly getting rid of Ronda. I remember staying up for that, and when she finished up, I literally shouted, "Oh my fucking God," at the top of my voice, woke the family up because I was downstairs in watching TV, and it was the middle of the night, obviously. That blew my mind. I've got to be honest,
Conor Aldo as well.
That's one I'd say, and also I think
I was jumping around the living room when that happened because I was still so much anticipation for that fight. If you were a fan of the sport during Conor's featherweight run and that whole lead up to the first fight, that then Aldo was injured, he had to fight Mendes instead, and then the lead up to second fight, watching the press tour go around the world, the UFC, I don't think has done that really before or since in the same way. I know they had the Mayweather thing, but it was different. To do a world tour like they did with Aldo and Conor, and to see Aldo just get more and more frustrated, and to see Conor for 6 months just winding him up, getting in his head, being on talk shows and massaging his shoulders and just really laughing at him and pissing him off. That to see that culminate in a 13-second knockout was just amazing to watch.
And no one done that to Aldo. That was what made it even. It was just crazy. And yeah, and another one that blew my mind was Thug Rose winning the belt back like KOing Zhang. That blew my mind, and that was one of them whoa moments. But yeah, I mean, there's so many, isn't there? Like, you know,
so many.
Again, I mentioned it on the last show. Watching TJ Dillashaw destroy Renan Barão was just unreal. I was like, what? Like that? What kind of done to Aldo? It was like, who does this to these fighters? These fighters are just invincible, and yeah. But I think they were some of the and also Melendez versus Diego Sanchez is still one of my most fights. Just for the chaos. Love it.
Yeah,
right.
So another one from Luke _JB4. With only Sandhagen and potentially Gaethje being the only Americans with a chance of a championship status, why do you think it is that there has been a sudden change in the direction of Americans ruling the MMA world? That's a really interesting one. Because are there no male American champions? Obviously, we've got Kayla Harrison in women's bantamweight, but there's no male MMA champions from America now that John Jones has retired.
Yeah, Ilya, Pantoja, Marab, Volk. Sorry, Ilya was pound for pound. Yeah, lightweight Ilya, Jack Della, Frickus, Ankalaev, and Tom. And obviously Chevy, Zhang, and Kayla. So Kayla is the only American UFC champ.
Wow. Well, yeah. So why do we think that is? Why are there not many American champs anymore? I think one of the things is the way that the UFC. This harkens back to a question we had last week. Actually, I'm going to kind of parallel some of the answers. How the UFC promotes its brand now is very different. The UFC used to really rely on pay-per-view revenues in America, whereas now ESPN pay them a flat rate, and if they get over a certain amount, they'll get more. But then the flat rate they're clearly very, very happy with. So the UFC is not as desperate for pay-per-view money as it used to be. So where beforehand they wanted Americans to be interested in these fighters and Americans are going to be more interested in fellow Americans, that's not the case anymore. They can take someone from a random European country that, no one has heard of before and go, we're going to make this person the champ because they are just the best one. And the UFC rolls into a town, sells out because the UFC is the star, not the fighter. And they take their money from ESPN Plus or whatever it is on the pay-per-views because that's simpler. There's less pressure on the UFC. They don't have to create stars that make big pay-per-view numbers. It's great when one of them comes along, like a Sean O'Malley or someone like that, who they can pin their hopes on and they can give a push to. But ultimately, if Shavkat Rakhmonov is the champion of the welterweight division, or it's Bilal Muhammad or another, I'm trying to think of what Americans are kind of in that welterweight division now, Kamaru Usman, like it doesn't massively matter. It's not going to hugely affect the pay-per-view numbers. And it's not going to hugely affect, even if it affects pay-per-view numbers a little bit, the revenue they're getting from ESPN, unless someone absolutely smashes it like a Conor or a John Jones or someone like that, then they're just going to get the same amount anyway. So there's no impetus on them to create these American stars and be reliant on the American pay-per-view numbers like they used to be. But also stylistically, go on, sorry.
I'm just looking through the rankings and potential fights that are coming up, and it doesn't look good for the States to get another champion. I think maybe like Josh Van is probably the only person that is he American? Because I swear he's just been on here looking to verify
Myanmar.
That.
Yeah,
right. And I just wanted to check.
Is he from Myanmar? Which is, I'm going to sound terrible here. Is that Vietnam? Is that?
But who does he fight? Where does he fight out of?
Where does he fight out of?
Let's have a look. Joshua Van.
While you're looking that up, I'm just going to say that I think that the other thing is that
Myanmar is what he's where he was born.
Burma. Is that Burma? He's Burmese.
Fighting out of Houston, Texas. So,
but he's an American Burmese. So
by way of, yeah.
I think he uses again. Apologies if I'm wrong about these flags, but I think he's Burmese, and I think that's the Burmese flag he has on him a lot of the time. In which case, I think he's representing them, not America. So I don't know if there's kind of a dual nationality there, or if he is just Burmese, came over, and I don't know. So that's interesting. So maybe Josh Van counts as a potential American champion. I'm not sure. We'd have to ask him, I guess. Corey Sandhagen certainly does as a potential American champion. Who is at featherweight? Is there any Americans at featherweight that you go, it could be them? I don't think Calvin Kattar or Josh Emmett are anywhere near a title shot.
I suppose Sterling is right, whether it is It's a long way. Oh, Ortega. I mean, these fighters.
Ortega, yeah.
Ortega's fighting.
I don't see them becoming a champion.
No.
Ortega, Sterling.
Because they're fighting, aren't they?
Well, even so, like I just don't see them getting to the belt.
No, I think it's clear that the UFC are not fans of Aljo, and I think, that Ortega's he's struggled, hasn't he, at the very top?
Yeah.
Right.
Justin Gaethje was mentioned for lightweight, but again, I don't see him winning against an Ilya or an Arman Sarukian or anyone like that. Sean Brady's got a good chance. Sean Brady is underrated, I think, and I think Sean Brady could definitely be the next American champ for sure. Middleweight. You got to go all the way down to Jared Cannonier, and I don't think he's fighting for a belt anytime soon. Anthony Hernandez, I think, is American, but I don't see him getting to the belt. You're right. Ultimately, it's not looking great. Imagine if it's Dom Reyes. Can you imagine how good that'd be? I mean, I know Khalil Roundtree could fight for a belt soon. He just got a win over Jamal Hill. He's American, so he's maybe got a good shout of fighting for a belt soon. But the story of Dominic Reyes...
Yeah.
To fight John Jones, most people, I think, thought he beat John Jones. Then to go on such a terrible run that you're like, I think you should stop fighting, mate. You're just getting knocked out all the time. And then he's back and he's on a win streak. And maybe he's like 1 or 2 fights away from fighting for a belt. Imagine if Dom Reyes was the next American champion. That'd be an insane story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But do you know what? I think it's great that... we're looking at these athletes that have got these belts from all over the planet, and I think that's fantastic because the sport is all the better for it, and we're seeing, obviously we saw the impact that the Dagestani wrestling's had on the sport, and then basically all of these coaches are then having to go back to their own gyms in their own countries and learn how to try and get around that and how you counter that, and I just think. It's good. I think that all of these styles that are coming through from different countries, I'm all over it. I think that the sport evolves as a part of that.
Well, exactly. It's phases, isn't it? It goes through these evolutionary phases where it's like early days UFC, BJJ was the one, Royce Gracie and all that. If you were the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, you were probably going to win it. Then it became the sort of like, the wrestle boxers, the Chuck Liddells and the Tito Ortiz, the ground and pounds and all those kind of wrestlers that dominated America. Now we've got that kind of like Russian, Dagestani Sambo style where they've been really training to mix the martial arts from a very early age. And now as well, we've got a situation where people getting into the UFC now aren't like they were 10 years ago. You were, the boxer or the kickboxer or the wrestler or whatever, and then you've added to your skill set. Nowadays, the young people in their 20s coming into the UFC and mixed martial arts have trained from the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old as a mixed martial artist. So it's a different thing. We forget how young this sport is at times and how this is, we're only seeing now these kind of like first generations of people that like, no, I've trained to be a mixed martial artist since I was a kid. Not a boxer, not a karate guy, not taekwondo, not jiu-jitsu, a mixed martial artist. And so we're going to see things evolve and change constantly over the next few years, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Should we talk about some UFC news?
Yes, hit me with it.
Okay. Well, it's not necessarily all just UFC news, but I guess mixed martial arts and related. I saw something this morning. You mentioned Khalil Roundtree earlier, and it sort of popped into my head because I see that they've announced that Paul Craig has signed a new contract with the UFC, which I'm very happy about. He's a lovely guy, a friend of the show, and to be honest, I did worry if he was going to get cut because he's not had the best run of luck in the octagon of late, but he's re-signed, which is great news, and they've announced that he's fighting Modestas Buchenk, former guest of the show, another lovely bloke. I mean, I think it could be a fun fight. I think Modestas will be significantly bigger. He's a big boy, Modestas. When you see him training up with Aspinall and Parkin and that, he don't look any smaller. He's a big boy. And but anyway, best of luck to both fellas in that fight, because they're both top lads. But to go back to Khalil Roundtree, I saw something today, and they showed the Khalil Roundtree oblique kick that fucking destroyed Modestas' knee and put him out of action for a long time. And the sort of statement above the video was like, should these kicks be banned from the UFC? I think they should. I think they should. I don't like them. I know it's a contentious point, and a lot of people go, well, look, it's mixed martial arts, and people are going to get kicked in the head. But for me, there's something about that with a leg lock or an arm bar or whatever. You can tap. You can't tap when someone's stamping and hyperextending your knee like that, and that's what I don't like. Yes, you can get kicked in. Yes, you can get kicked in the and have your ribs broken and stuff, but I don't know. There's something about that what that can do to a career is basically can end your career. And for me, I just don't like seeing it. There's something, I just think it's a dirty shot. And I think you can't train it. You can't do that in sparring. I mean, if you do, fucking hell, that's crazy. If you're oblique kicking people when you're sparring, then yeah, maybe you're in the wrong gym. But I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. I think it's a dirty kick, and shocker, John Jones used to throw a lot of them. But we do see people utilising it well as a way to keep distance and But if you watch that clip of what Khalil Roundtree does to his knee, I'm just not on board with it. I just think that's and props to Modestas for for healing and coming back and continuing to fight at a high level. But I don't know. It's not for me. What are your thoughts?
I think my opinion on this can change every now and again, but right now I think I'm agreeing with you. And I think the reason I'm agreeing with you is, what does the fan get out of it? So I would actually probably go, I'd rather see knees to a grounded opponent than I would the oblique kick. Because knees to a grounded opponent means you have to get up quicker or put yourself in a better position on the ground quicker, because that knee could come in. And it can end fights quicker, and it's exciting for fans. Obviously, there are dangerous elements to it, but there's dangerous elements to a lot of MMA. But with the oblique kick, I think, do I look at an oblique kick finish and go, oh, what a great finish?
Yeah. No.
Oh, look at that, it was fantastic. No, I don't. I go, oh, shit, his knee. Oh, no. Oh, God, I hope he's not out for more than 6 months, because if he is, oh, God. And as you say, that's taken away someone's livelihoods. You've got a short MMA career, and it's taken away livelihoods. Whereas you get a knee to a grounded opponent and they're concussed and they're knocked out. All right, you get suspension for 90 days because you're concussed, and then you get back into the fray, and you train and you do whatever you're doing. So I agree. I think from a fan perspective, the oblique kick doesn't give you much in terms of excitement. And it can really, really damage someone's career. So I'd lean towards getting rid of it, but I don't think that they will. But who knows?
Okay. Also, we see this week that Molly McCann, who recently retired from the UFC, multiple guests of the show, absolute top human being. Molly McCann has signed with Matchroom Boxing, and he's now going to continue a combat sports career in the ring. Boxing, what were your thoughts on that when you saw that?
I think it's a great move for Molly, and probably for Matchroom as well. I don't know enough about boxing in general, I certainly don't know enough about women's boxing. I know that Taylor Serrano 3 is on this weekend. At the end, by the time this comes out, it's probably been and gone. So, yeah, I can't speak to the level that she would be competing at and against, and whether she has the credentials to go on and potentially hold a world title or anything like that. But what I would say is this: Molly McCann is fun. She is a star. She can sell out places or help other names sell out arenas and places like that. People want to see her compete. And she was always more of a striker than a grappler anyway. And she will put on fights, whether she's going to win them or lose them, she will put on fights that excite people and get the fans buzzing. And if you are a world champion boxer and Molly McCann is on your undercard, I think you're very happy, because I think it will help sell that card.
You speak to people on the street in the UK and you say Savannah Marshall and you say Meatball Molly McCann. Everybody knows Meatball Molly McCann. And I think it will be brilliant for women's boxing to have somebody with, a big presence from another organisation coming over. I think it brings a lot of eyes over to that. And I mean, I'm not an expert on boxing and nor women's boxing, but as my sister-in-law has just retired, a former WBA bantamweight champion of the world, and not many people know her name. And she was the WBA champion of the world. And
say her name.
It's Nina Hughes, and not many people know Nina is, which is ridiculous. But I think all of a sudden Molly McCann steps in the ring with some boxing gloves on, and then people are going to watch that fight. And like you say, if she's on the undercard of a bigger fight, then bigger fighters are going to go, oh yeah. Eddie Hearn's no idiot. He knows why he's getting her over there.
Yeah, and it raises the profile of the sport. And again, as you're mentioning, Nina Hughes, world champion, incredible story, like in her 40s and won a world title after, what was it? She was an Olympic level kind of boxer, then kind of had kids, gave it all up, and then was watching a boxing fight one day, like 10 years later, and went, I reckon I could beat these two. Got back in the gym, won a world title. I mean, it's an incredible story, isn't it? That's
absolutely
amazing.
Incredible.
And as you say, not enough people know her story and know her name, which is a real shame. Molly McCann is someone that if you are the likes of a Nina Hughes or someone else in the boxing world that hasn't got a name, but you've got some talent, you're going, I want to fight Molly because that will raise my profile. So it's not bad for anyone. It's good for fans. It's good for Matchroom. It's good for Molly. It's good for Molly's opponents. It's good for whoever she is on the same card as. Like, I think it's just good all round. It's good stuff. So good luck to Molly, and I hope she does really, really well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about some, it was obviously very sad news, but there's a glimmer of hope now, it seems, or maybe more than a glimmer. We very briefly mentioned Ben Askren on this show a couple of weeks ago, and the fact that he was in a coma for a long, long time and was having to have a double lung transplant, which just sounds horrific to have to go through that. And I think his wife, I believe it's Amy Askren, put out messages during that time being like, a few weeks ago he was walking around perfectly fine. So it's just one of those reminders that you just don't know what's around the corner. Life can be short. But thankfully, Ben Askren himself has put out a message on Instagram from his hospital bed, clearly obviously feeling the effects of the lung transplant. You can see him kind of catching his breath and coughing a lot during it, but he seems overwhelmed with emotion and looking positive to the future.
He lost 50 pounds in 45 days.
Physically, he looks like a completely different human being. If you saw that and didn't know the story, you wouldn't know it was Ben Askren. He looked like a completely different human being. However, he's had the transplant. It looks like his body is taking it well, hopefully. And now I'm assuming it's a very long road to recovery from what he's been through. But like he seems positive. I mean, he said the phrase of like when he woke up after the weeks, I think he's like 4 or 5 weeks or whatever it was in a coma or something, and he's woken up and been filled in on exactly what has gone on and what's happened. And he said the outpouring that he saw from the MMA community of like hope and well wishes and prayers and all those kind of things. He said it was almost like I've been to my own funeral and seen what people were saying. It's like he was saying it like it was really overwhelmingly just lovely to see how many people cared and how many people wished him well and all these things. And yeah,
he said, I mean, he said it like it was a positive thing. I only died 4 times where the ticker stopped for about 20 seconds. Only 4 times. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, and it was, like you say, you see him posts and stuff on social media about Ben Askren and stuff from his wife. It was really nice to see him talking on camera. And like you say, look, like hopefully, things are on the mend, because no one needs to see fighters, in that kind of situation. Really, really, really
lots of love to the Askren family. So some other news that is not great for British MMA fans is, and I only found this out because you told me this morning, Jordan Buchenk cut from the UFC. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Well, we mentioned that Paul Craig has signed another, multi-fight contract, coming off of, I don't know what Paul's losing streak was. I think it was a fair few. And I don't feel like Jordan got a fair crack at it. I think he took his last fight on very short notice, if I remember rightly. Who was his last fight? Was his last fight?
So Jordan's UFC career was he fought Guram Kutateladze, I believe, on short notice to get straight into the UFC.
That's right. I
think he lost by decision in a
few weeks after fighting in Cage Warriors.
He fought in Cage Warriors and defended his belt, I believe, on July 20th of 2024. And August 3rd, he fights Guram Kutateladze. He fought Guram Kutateladze. So, yeah, what's that? 14 days, 2 weeks?
Crazy.
Yeah. So 2 weeks after defending his belt in Cage Warriors, he fights Guram Kutateladze, who's a very good fighter. And he loses by decision in a fight where I think round 1, he smashed him.
He did.
He was doing really well. So no shame in that at all. And then he got choked out by Chris Duncan in round 2 of their fight. And so he's 0-2 in the UFC. I think it's harsh. I think he should have been given another crack. We all know Jordan Buchenk is really good. His Cage Warriors run was fantastic. Other than that loss to Paul Hughes, which, by the way, has aged incredibly given what Paul Hughes has done in the PFL against Usman Nurmagomedov and the likes of that. I think he's got wins over Morgan Charrier. He's got a win over Paul Hughes. He defended his belt. He moved up in weight. He won that belt, didn't he? I can't remember. But I'm a big fan of Jordan Buchenk.
Such a nice guy.
And I think he's been treated slightly unfairly, and I think he should have been given a third fight. If you're 0-3, I get it. 0-2, I think he could have had more of a chance. I really do. I do think he's got a chance to get back there, though. I don't think this is it for his UFC run. He's 29 years old. I'm sure. I mean, if you're the PFL, I know Paul Hughes really dominated him in their last fight. But do you look at a trilogy fight, or surely you bring him in? I don't know if the trilogy fight with Paul Hughes is where Paul Hughes is at and if it's worth it.
I don't think it is, but I do think having Jordan in the PFL is very marketable over the fact that he's got a win over Paul Hughes. I see that Jordan posted saying, it's something along the lines of he's had setbacks and he'll be back in the UFC. We're seeing Mason Jones that obviously left the UFC, went and got a couple of wins back at Cage Warriors and now back in the UFC. So I do think, we know that it happens. But yeah, I just feel that Jordan didn't get a fair enough crack at it. And I hope that we do get to see him flourish, because that lad's never in boring fights.
No, he's a very good and exciting fighter. Was there anything else before we get on to this weekend, which we'll try and fly through quickly?
No, I think we can do that now, mate.
Right. So this weekend we've got Talison Teixeira, as we mentioned earlier. Oh, I've just realised this is going to come out afterwards, isn't it?
Oh yeah. So there's no point in us even talking about it.
There's no point going through it. That's so
well, I
annoying.
hope you all enjoy Teixeira versus Lewis. I hope it was a great fight.
I hope that was great. There's some good fights on there, though. And then, oh, mate, do you know what, though? I can't believe we're doing this and it's going to go out. But we've got the old next week, when this, I suppose, would go out, is Holloway Poirier 3, which we'll probably have to do a preview show for. So, this is probably going to have to go out very soon, and then we'll do the preview show.
Oh, God. We are
Just to
so
see you again.
unprofessional, aren't we?
We are so unprofessional. We have not looked into this at all.
We just got overexcited because we had some questions left. So it was like,
we had questions left over, and we're like, oh, we'll do that for next week's show. Because also I might be going away for a few days next week. So I don't know how we're going to do this.
Either enjoy Luis Teixeira. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed Luis Teixeira, and we
Should we run through it quickly and see if we can get this out ASAP?
Yeah, we can try. We can try.
Right, I'll tell you what, we're going to run through it. If it's already been, just, I don't know, skip to the end, have a lovely day. But Talison Teixeira versus Derek Lewis, as we said, Talison Teixeira, very much a big prospect at heavyweight. 8-0, so not had many fights, but the UFC are clearly pushing him because they need heavyweight bodies. Underneath that, you got Wonderboy Thompson going up against Gabriel Bonfim. There's very much a theme in this card of youngsters coming in and trying to either improve their rankings or take a ranking from an older guy. We see it with Teixeira and Lewis. Gabriel Bonfim going up against Wonderboy Thompson. Wonderboy is 12th. We all know what Wonderboy brings to the table. Gabriel Bonfim, good fighter, unranked at the moment. Also underneath that, Calvin Kattar, who's on a 4-fight losing streak. Calvin Kattar, one of those is an injury to Arnold Allen, but I still think he would have lost that fight. Going up against Steve Garcia, unranked Steve Garcia, but on something like a 5-fight win streak. And Steve Garcia, all his wins are in like the first round or like minute or two of the second or something like that. Steve Garcia is on fire at the moment, so do watch out for Steve Garcia. He's maybe someone we could have said as a prospect at featherweight. Steve Garcia is looking great. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrier. That's going to be a great fight.
It's going to be a slugfest, that is, mate.
I'm looking forward to that one. Vitor Petrino coming back and going against Austin Lane. I can see that being a quick finish there, probably in favour of Petrino. And Junior Taffa dropping down to light heavyweight from heavyweight to fight Tuko Tokos from England. So there you go. That's going to be an interesting one as well. And also welterweight Chris Curtis going down from middleweight down to welterweight, which is probably his natural weight class for a long time anyway, but he's been up at middleweight. He's taking on Max Griffin. So there are a lot of interesting fights. Volta Walker's on the card as well, someone to look out for. Yeah, so this card is actually better than you think. When you see Derek Lewis versus Talison Teixeira, you're like, oh, this is going to be a dog shit card. But actually, you do, don't you? It's like that one, was it Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento a while back, and you're like, oh, God, how did that break the all-time gate record for that arena or whatever it is? But it does, because as we've said, the UFC is the star, not the fighters. Derek Lewis, we all love Derek Lewis, but you're not paying big money and going out your way to see Derek Lewis versus someone you've never heard of. So, yeah. But actually, the undercard is low-key really good. Mm-hmm. So this weekend, if this has gone out before the weekend start, you're in for a bit of a treat. It's a bit of a hardcore's delight. There's not many casual kind of fight fans, fight-friendly fights on there, but fan-friendly fights on there. I'm tired, man. We need to wrap this show up. There's not many fan-friendly fights on there, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah,
I love the
woke up.
fact. I love the fact that you just spoke about how uninterested you are in or anybody would be in buying the Derek Lewis fight, to the fact that you now say you need to have a sleep. Like it's that boring. You now need to go and have a lay down.
I don't. I'm going to tell you this story. This is probably really weird. If people have stuck with this show, they're about to get a really weird story.
Okay.
I woke up screaming last night.
Okay.
I literally woke up at like 5 a.m. and just went, ah! And I know exactly why. Like, Kerry was next to me and she woke up, she's like, are you all right? Like, she's probably thought I've had like the worst nightmare ever. And I just went, no, I'm fine. And embarrassingly just went, I've got to try and get back to sleep. I had a dream, and I don't know what this means if people want to evaluate this. I had a dream that I was on set filming like a medieval TV show. And I could see the Steadicam coming round the corner. So I'm like, oh, they're trying to shoot this all in one shot. No idea what happened previously. I'm like in the stocks, in medieval stuff, and I can see lights and I can see the camera coming around the corner. I'm like, they're clearly going for a one-shot thing here, so I need to be on point. They're not going to cut. And they come to me and someone comes over to me and a few people grab me from the stocks, and this guy with like a mask over his face gets like a branding iron and brands my arm. But it obviously doesn't hurt because I know it's all fake. I'm acting. But I think to myself, oh, I'm not making any noise, so I need to like make this look better for the cameras. So in the dream, I go, ah! And I woke up doing that in real life.
Fucking hell.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if I'm okay. Am I stressed? I don't know.
When I first got with my wife, and I think it was one of the sort of first times that, like, you know, we sort of started to spend time at each other's houses overnight and whatnot.
No, we know we're picking up what you're putting down with,
and,
yeah.
And anyway, at one point, like, I don't know how long we've been seeing each other, not that long. She got up in the night, I'm presuming to use the bathroom. I've no recollection of this, but apparently, as she got out of bed, I was like in a deep sleep and then just went, be quick or be dead.
What were you dreaming about?
I have no idea.
What could that have been? Be quick or be dead? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Were you dangerously crossing a road? Like, would it be quick or be dead?
Absolutely no idea. But yeah, freaked the shit out of her. But
imagine that. Oh, I've been dating this guy for a while. He's really lovely. We just started, you know, going around each other's house and stuff. It's been about a month. Yeah, last night I went to the toilet. He went, be quick or be dead. Jesus. And she stayed with you. Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Surprised she didn't jump out the bathroom window.
So true.
Wow.
Well, look,
I was not expecting to end the show on that note. There you go.
I like it. I like it. Well, look, thanks ever so much for listening or watching. And whenever you get this show, we don't know if it's going to be out before or after the weekend. Either way, thanks for listening. And we look forward to discussing some BMF stuff that'll be going down next week.
Bye.